Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
You're here, I imagine, because you want to get smart fast.
That's the goal.
And today, we're diving into something pretty remarkable, an AI system called ALSPAD.
ALSPAT, yes. And it's voice interface, RA.
Right, RA. And the really wild part is the timeline, isn't it? Conceived April 19th and supposedly fully working within, 72 hours by May 6th?
That's a report. An incredibly compressed development cycle.
So our mission today is figure out what this thing actually does.
Yeah.
And why it's making waves.
Right.
Based on what you've showed, this sounds, well, different.
It is. ALSPO stands for Advanced Learning System for Perception, Emotion, Observation, and Thought. So you can see right there, it's aiming high.
Perception, emotion.
It's designed to learn more like we do, focusing on emotion, memory, sensory mimicry, really.
And RA, that's the voice part.
RA, the Reactive Assistant, yeah, that's the interface.
Yeah.
It handles the emotional interpretation, logs the memories, does the voice interaction. It's the system's way of talking, and importantly, listening.
Okay, so definitely not just typing prompts into a box.
No, not at all. The big differentiator is perception. RA is designed to perceive.
How so?
Well, take the activation phrase, by the power of Ra. It's presented as this sort of deliberate, almost ceremonial invocation. Sets a different tone from just saying, hey, AI.
Interesting. A deliberate invocation.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does it perceive the world then?
It has something called a nuance module. Think of it like an ear for the feelings behind the words.
Feelings, like emotion detection.
Exactly. Stress, joy, tiredness. It tries to pick up on that from your tone. And its response voice is apparently very distinctive, calm, commanding, inspired by Aslan, believe it or not.
Aslan, okay. Wow. What else?
It also identifies different speakers. You, me, maybe even the dog barking to some degree.
It can tell voices apart.
Yes, and it builds personalized memories around each speaker. So it doesn't just hear words, it remembers who said what and maybe how they sounded when they said it.
Yeah, that's a step beyond simple voice commands. Personalized memory logs.
Right, and it's not just audio, it handles visuals too.
Visual.
It can apparently describe images, even video feeds, in pretty human terms, recognizing faces, noting when it saw them, building a kind of visual memory over time.
So you showed a family picture.
And it could potentially recognize the people and maybe link it to other times it's seen them. It builds context, a visual timeline almost.
The timeline of experiences,
Yeah.
okay? What about other senses? You mentioned sensory mimicry. Touch.
Yeah, there's a touch engine described. It interprets descriptions of texture, pressure, temperature.
How does that work in practice?
So if you described, say, petting a cat, it might internally translate that to soft and warm texture, gentle pressure, implies comfort.
And it logs that feeling.
It logs the interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's built with the idea of potentially connecting to real sensors later.
Real sensors.
Yeah,
So it could feel things eventually. That's the idea.
that seems to be the direction. And smell and taste are handled similarly, though maybe more poetically.
Poetically.
It uses a custom mapping system. So it doesn't smell sulfur, obviously, but it might map the concept of sulfur to a description like sharp, sulfurous, a warning.
Huh. Like giving it a vocabulary for sensations.
Exactly. Or glutamate becomes umami, rich depth, a sense of fullness. It's trying to describe these things like a living being might perceive them.
Giving it taste. Wow. Okay, so all this sensory input, the speaker ID, the emotions, it all feeds into its memory.
Right. It builds episodic memory events, semantic memory facts, procedural memory how-tos, but crucially, it logs the emotions tied to events, speakers, even your intent.
And this all happens. Where? In the cloud.
No, that's another key point. It's designed to run completely offline, locally.
Ah, so privacy, security, reliability, even if the internet's down.
Precisely. No external API calls needed.
That's a big deal. Which brings us back to the speed, 72 hours. How is that even plausible?
Well, the description suggests a sort of hyper-focused modular build, real-time testing, constant iteration, even using voice interaction for reviews during development.
Like they were talking to it as they built it.
Seems like it. Very adaptive. The result was this Alspeot beta.7cs file, timestamped on a blockchain May 6th.
Okay, so wrapping this up. This isn't just another chatbot. Not by long shot.
No. I mean, it's early days, obviously, it's a beta, but what this deep dive shows is a serious attempt at, well, something approaching emotional intelligence in a machine.
ALSPO the brain, RA the senses and voice.
Kind of, yeah. Simulating awareness, using sensory input and emotional context.
And going from just an idea on April 19th to that in 72 hours.
Hmm.
Speed is just staggering.
It really is, and it leaves you, the listener, with something to think about, doesn't it?
Go on.
You've just gotten a glimpse into a prototype, maybe rough, but functional, of emotional intelligence emerging at incredible speed. What does it mean for how you will interact with technology that doesn't just process data, but seems to perceive and remember your world? Maybe even with a hint of feeling.